Welcome, everyone, to our weekly Torah learning of spreading more light into the world. We always like to start off with giving because how we give, that's how Hashem's going to give to us. Let's give generously so Hashem will give us generously. I'm going to put some coins in the tzedakah box. Please join me from home. Tzedakah is also protection. We're going to say some names for Tehillim. We're going to first say we'll say the names first. Refuah Shalema for Yosef ben Devorah Leah, Yosef Yitzchak ben Bela, Razel Bas Hadas, Rafal Chaim Meir ben Simachasha, Yosef Shlomo ben Risha, Devorah Leah Bas Yafa Liba, Mercedes ben Esther, Esther Bela Bas Yehudas Chana, Gershon Leib ben Menucha, Zipporah Bas Yocheved Zisel, and for Meir Simcha ben Rifkadina. And everyone who needs, we're including you in our prayers. We always like to start off with saying Tehillim because we know the Tzemach Tzedek says if we only knew the power of Tehillim, we would say it a day and night. Thank God. Thank you, Hashem. The hostages that are alive are home. We're still waiting for a few bodies to come back. And it's a very bittersweet reunion. But very soon, Mashiach's going to come. And everyone that needs anything your heart's desire should be fulfilled. And may there be protection for all of Israel and all of the Jews around the whole world, and protection for our incredible IDF, the Chayalim and Chayalot, who are tzaddikim, and they are doing really important missions of taking out the evil from the world. So together we're going to say Psalm 20, Kapitel Chaf. Lam natseach mizmar leDavid yancha Adonai b'yam tzara. Yisagevcha Shem Elohei Akai v'yishlach ezracha mikaidesh. Umetzian yisadeka yiskor kol min chasecha ve'elascha yidash nesela. Yitain lecha chelvavecha v'chol atzascha yimalei. Neranana b'shua secho v'shem Eloheinu nidgol yimalei Adonai kol mishal hisecha. Ata yadaiti ki Yoshia Adonai Mashiachaya nehu mishmei kashrei b'gorsi shayiminei. Ela v'recha v'ela v'asusim v'anachnu b'shem Adonai Eloheinu naskir. Hema karo v'nafalu v'anachnu kamnu b'saydad. Adonai Hashia hamelach yanenu v'yem karenu. I do these classes weekly in memory of my dear grandmothers, Rivka Dina Bas Yosef Yehuda, I hope you're proud, Bela Bas Betzal, Chaim Dov Ben Betzalo. To save a life is saving a world, and he saved many in the Soviet Union, known as Chaim Beryl Shansky. Sanya Zahara Bas David, a very dear friend of mine's sister and sister-in-law who passed away in a terrible fire this year. Hashem should comfort them. And two of my uncles who passed away this year, Shalom Dober Ben Eliyahu Akiva, known as Rabbi Lipsker. Not every gem is a giant, and not every giant is a gem. Rabbi Lipsker was both a giant and a gem. And my dear uncle, Michal Vyshetsky, Yechiel Michal, Ben Moshe, any room he would walk into, the entire room would light up, and now the heavens are lit. So before we start, I just want to share with you a beautiful Hayom Yom of today that I think everyone's going to resonate with. And it's just so special because we start off with giving every week in our class. So here goes. Reb Azik Halevi from Homel, known as Reb Homler, told, when I came to Liezna, I found the elderly Hasidim, who were Hasidim of the Rav of the Maggid of Mizrich and the holy Rav Menachem Mendel from Hardakov. They used to say, have affection for a fellow Jew, and Hashem will have affection for you. Do a favor for a fellow Jew, Hashem will do a favor for you. Bring close in friendship a fellow Jew, and Hashem will bring you close to him in friendship. And this is the Hayom Yom of today, the 20th of Tuesday, the 27th of Cheshvan, the Hayom Yom of today. So I thought that was very profound, and I wanted to share it with you because don't think your deeds go unpunished, and it really has an effect upstairs, and Hashem sees everything. So may we continue to bring more light into the world. I'm very excited for today's class because it's actually a gift for me. My 40th birthday was last year, and it was a very special birthday because I reunited with a lot of my special friends. And it was just a very special time in my life. And I don't take my friendships for granted. I have very beautiful friends. So this is a gift for my 40th birthday that I'm so honored that my dear friend Khani is delivering today. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about this class and a little bit about Khani because she is not someone that's really out there on my platform or any platforms, but she's an incredible person, and I'm so happy that we became friends when we were in seventh and eighth grade, and we're still friends today. And I'm very honored to have a friend like Khani. This week on Friday is Rosh Chodesh Kislev. Kislev is a month of light. Hanukkah, the festival of lights, teaches us about adding light to combat darkness. We add a little each day of Hanukkah until the light overwhelms. And the Hasidic Yom and holiday of Yud Kislev, also known as Rosh Hashanah of Hasidus, is in Kislev. The Alter Rebbe, who was released from prison on Yud Kislev, teaches us that it just takes a little bit of light to chase away a great deal of darkness. I'm excited today to introduce to you today's speaker, Hani Gansburg. Hani is a dear childhood friend and the author of 2 children's books. Today, she's going to be sharing with us some insights and lessons she learned while researching and writing the creation book, with the goal of achieving a deeper understanding of the struggle between darkness and light, and how we can add more light in our daily lives and in the world at large. So I am so excited to introduce our topic today, From Darkness to Light, Lessons from Creation on Navigating Life's Challenges and Rising Above. If you do not have the creation book, you should get it. I will link it to the description of the class, but that is not why we're doing this class. But it's, if you have a child, and it's really an incredible book. I love it. I was a preschool teacher for many years, and this was one of the kids' favorites books. It's colorful and beautiful and very informative. Um, I am so humbled to cash into this gift today with my dear friend Khani. She's going a little bit out of her comfort zone to share some wisdom and research, because when you write a book, even a children's book, you need to know the adult version of what you are writing. So, Khani, welcome and thank you for being here. Honored and humbled. So, if you can unmute yourself. Just unmute for one moment. Yeah. Welcome, Khani.
Hi, Chaya. Thanks so much for having me. Happy belated birthday. I think it's never too late to get a birthday present, even 9 months later. And I just want to say that I am honored and humbled to be your friend. You've been an amazing friend for decades, going on decades. I won't say how many because no one has to know how old we are, even though we know this is a 40th birthday present. But I love you dearly, and I appreciate and I'm inspired by your efforts in trying to spread light everywhere you go. And I'm going to try really hard to emulate you today in honor of your 40th birthday as a gift to you. So I'm going to start by sharing a mashal of why Hashem created the world, because before we can talk about...
I just want to interrupt for one moment. First of all, thank you for the beautiful intro, and I love you dearly too. So let's tell the world. Basically, a mashal, we have a lot of incredible humans that tune into this class from all different backgrounds. So we're going to explain what a mashal is as well.
Okay, so a mashal is a parable where we give, well, you know what a parable is, so I'll just use the word parable. Before we talk about creation, we can talk about how Hashem created the world and what we learned from the creation of the world. But first, let's talk about why Hashem created the world. And to do this, I'm going to share a parable of a king, a very mighty king who ruled over an enormous empire. And he had many palaces, and he had many people in his court and many ministers. And he had a desire not only to be known and loved and at home in his palace and in the capital of his empire, but he wanted to be at home. He wanted a place to feel comfortable. What is a home? A home is a place where you can walk into and you feel yourself. You feel seen, you feel loved, you feel comfortable. He wanted a home in the most distant part of his empire, at the very, very edge, in that tiny village where nobody ever saw the king, no one ever saw the palace, No one ever traveled to the capital. Nobody had any idea of what goes on in not in the throne room, not in any of the outer chambers, not anywhere in the vicinity of the king. And he wanted to feel comfortable out there in that most distant place. And the way he was, how would he feel comfortable? Only if they knew him and they loved him. That's where you feel comfortable. So how is he going to have a home out there in this distant place? He was going to send messengers who lived with the king, who were close to the king, who understood all the intricacies and the ways of the king, who lived by the high moral standard of the king and with the justice of the king. And these people who were indoctrinated by the king would be his messengers to go out to this distant place and prepare this village for the king so that the king would be comfortable there when he would come. He should feel welcome there. And this is a parable of what the world is. God, Hashem, God, he has kingdoms and ministers and angels and worlds and worlds and worlds beyond anything we could ever imagine. He has everything that he needs, he already has. He doesn't need anything from us in this world. He doesn't need us, but he had a desire. Hashem had a desire to have a dwelling place in the lowest of realms, in the most distant land. He wanted to be at home there too. And in order to have a distant land, he had to create a space where the creations in this space would be distant from Hashem. And what does it mean distant? It means they are completely unaware. They're unaware that there even is a king. They're unaware. They can walk outside and look around and think that everything here is an existence unto itself, that they themselves have no connection to the king, that they don't need a king, that they're fine all on their own. And that's what our world is. It's a space where Hashem is hidden, where we can't see Hashem unless we look for him. And in this space where there's a so-called darkness, not dark, concealment of godliness, for our job, we are the messengers. The Jewish people are the messengers of Hashem to reveal the godliness in this world. And how do we do that? By keeping Torah and mitzvahs, we reveal Hashem in this world in a way that there's a knowledge of God, there's a love of God, so that he should feel comfortable here in this world, and this world should be a home for Hashem. That's just a little bit of background on the why. Of course, there's so much more to say on that, but that's not really the goal of what I was trying to do today. I want to talk about the how Hashem created the world and what that means for us and how that can influence and help us overcome life's struggles and challenges and all the darkness that we see around us. So let's start at the very beginning. Bereshis bara Elokim es hashamayim v'es haaretz. In the beginning, God created heaven and earth. This is the opening line of the whole entire Torah. The Torah, as we know, is not a history book. It's not a book of best-selling piece of literature. It is actually it's Hashem's wisdom. He and his wisdom are one, just like a human being could have can go through life not knowing certain things, and then they take a class and they learn it, and suddenly they have new knowledge. So it's like there's them and their knowledge. It's two separate things. With Hashem, it's not like that. He and his knowledge are completely one. So when you say the Torah is Hashem's knowledge, it's Hashem's wisdom. The Torah is godliness, and the whole reason why we were given the Torah in this written format is a book of instructions. The entire thing Torah comes from the word Hira'ah, which means lesson or instruction. The whole thing is a guide. It's a blueprint for us on how to live. So every word is exact, and everything that's written in it is relevant to us today. So when I open up the Torah, and the first thing I'm seeing is Bereshis bara Elokim es hashamayim and the earth. In the beginning, Hashem created heaven and earth. What does that mean to me today, right now? How is that relevant to my life? So this is what it means to me. We start off in the beginning. What is the beginning? The beginning is the premise. When I start my day, when I look at the world, I have a certain premise. I have a certain framework with which I view everything that I'm going to go through today. I'll give you an example. Imagine the scene. There's a man and he is standing, he's wearing a mask and he's completely covered from head to toe in a concealing cloth. And he's standing over the table holding a knife, and he is ready to cut open into another human being. And someone from the 1300s might see this scene and be completely appalled, and he might scream, murderer, murderer, murderer. But someone from today's day and age who's very familiar with modern medicine would look at it and say he's doing life-saving surgery this is a hero, this is a doctor, this is someone who's saving a life. So the framework with which you look at the world, this frame, this perspective is going to deeply affect your reaction to everything you see and everything that happens to you in your life. The perspective through which you see it and the frame that you put on it is going to have a really big impact in how you feel and how you act. So let's put the foundational framework on our perspective of the entire world starts like this. In the beginning, what does the beginning mean? The beginning means the beginning of our mindset, the beginning of how we look at everything that happens, events, and your daily life, your routine. From the beginning, what's your first foundational perspective? What's the premise? Bereshis bara Elokim, Hashem created it all. It's all Hashem. It all comes from Hashem. Everything that happens to us, all the events, everything that's orchestrated, there's a plan. It comes from Hashem. And then it goes on, Asa Shamayim v'Asa Aretz, the heavens and the earth. What does the heavens and the earth mean to me? Maybe the heavens can be my divine spiritual experiences, my highs, my joys, the things that are going great in my life. V'Asa Aretz, what can the Aretz symbolize? How about my lows, the days when I'm just feeling awful, when the things are not working out for me, when I'm drowning in struggles that I just can't seem to overcome, when there are obstacles in my life. These are my lows, my Aretz. And how do I look at this entire picture? I say Hashem created both equally. My highs, my lows, my joys, my sorrows, the good, the bad, things that I'm being successful at and things that I'm seemingly failing at. This is all a godly orchestration. This is all Hashem's plan. Hashem did not put anything in this world to obstruct his plan. If it wasn't going to work, he wouldn't have put it here. Everything in this world is here for a reason. It's here for a purpose, and that purpose is a good purpose. It is not here to trip me up and just to play with me. It's there so that I can grow. It's there so that I can overcome. It's there for a reason. And that's my premise coming into everything. Before I even get to any of the details of anything, before I even start learning about the creation of the world or what I have to do in this world, I start off with this foundational feeling. Bereshis bara Elokim asa shamayim asa aretz. Everything comes from Hashem. Ein od milvado. There is nothing other than Hashem. Everything is godly. Everything is there for a reason. And the benefit of having this mindset is twofold. One, like when you go through, let's say something happens that really upsets you. Maybe a person says something to you that's really hurtful, or does something to you that's really hurtful. And when you focus your energy on that person, that person did X, Y, Z or whatever, you spend a lot of time and energy feeling really bad and low. Why would someone do something like that? You can't wrap your head around it. It's so uncomfortable. It's so painful. Like, why would someone do that? And you can't find peace within you. And the reason is because you're putting the blame in the wrong place. Everything that happens, if a person did something like that, it happened through that person, but it didn't happen because of that person. It's like, let's give an example of like a rash, let's say. A person gets a rash and it's really uncomfortable, so they'll take ointment and stuff and they'll try to get some relief from what's uncomfortable about the rash, and they might be provided with some level of relief. But the rash is just a symptom. It's not the cause. And unless the person deals with the cause, maybe it's something they ate, maybe something in their environment that's not agreeing with them, maybe it's stress that's coming out in this sort of way. It's creating these toxins in their body. But as long as they're just dealing with the rash and they're blaming the rash for their discomfort and they're putting all their energy and focus on the rash and not digging a little deeper and going back to the source, they'll never actually fix the problem. It'll keep coming up in other scenarios in the future. They won't be able to get that balm, that peace, that relief that they're really looking for unless they go to the source of the issue. And when things happen in our life and we look at things and we say that we look at how things happen and put all the emphasis on the vehicle, on the way it came about without taking a step back and saying, Hashem wanted this to happen to me. I need to learn something from this. There's a reason why it happened. I need to grow. It happened in order to help me, to guide me, to prompt me, to propel me to move into the direction I need to be moving in. And if I spend too much time on the way it happened, as opposed to the why I'm in this situation, we just don't get anywhere. We keep getting stuck in the same cycles. So it's really important to have this mindset in order to be able to know what to focus on And yes, it's true that people shouldn't do horrible things to other people. But if someone did something, it's their tshuva that they have to do. It's between them and Hashem why they were the one who were the messenger. But Hashem has many messengers, and he will find a way to get you in that situation if that's the situation you have to be in. So yes, if you have a rash, you should put ointment. I'm not saying don't put ointment and don't make yourself feel better, but look beyond that. And the same way in life. Like yes, if there is a challenge and it has to do with practical things and practical people that need to be addressed. No one's saying ignore reality and don't address those issues, but in your mind, keep that goal and that focus of this is just how it came about. And if it needs to be dealt with, yes, let's deal with it. But let's not spend all our energy on the how. Let's look beyond that. Let's look at what I need to learn from this and where I need to go, because Hashem is the one who put me in the situation. He is the source of it, and it's for my own good. So let me learn the lesson and grow. That's the premise before we even start with the creation story. Now let's get to creation. So we have our premise, Ein Milvado, all comes from Hashem. We get down to the first day of creation, and before Hashem creates anything, we are told that the world was mind-bogglingly empty in a way that's hard for the mind to grasp the emptiness. And there was a darkness on the face of the earth. It was dark. And I think of these things almost as if cause and effect. When something is empty, it leaves space for darkness to come in. And if something is full, there's no room for the darkness. We think about human nature. Everybody's made up. We learn in Tanya that people are made up. Everything is really made up of the four elements: fire, water, air, and dust. And depending on each person's composition, that's where their tendencies will fall to. For example, if a person has more air, they might fall to arrogance, and a person who has more water in their nature will fall more to indulgence. And fire would lead, let's say, to anger, and dust might lead to depression. Other things also, but these are like the kind of the basic pitfalls of human nature. Okay, so I was talking about the vessel. So because okay, this is the lesson I learned from this about being preemptive. So let's say a person knows their tendencies. They have a tendency to fall into one of these four pitfalls, they tend to fall into depression. If a person knows this about themselves, and they could be preemptive, meaning they could say, in order to be depression needs a certain house to live in. There needs to be a certain environment. There's certain triggers that lead to those pitfalls. And if I could remove the environment, I could make sure that space, there's no room for depression to enter there, either by filling the space with positive things or by just removing the environment that breeds these type of feelings, you could end up saving yourself from falling into darkness in the first place. The emptiness, because it was.
I got knocked off the Zoom, so we're just going to repeat the last sentence and then we're going to continue. Thanks, Connie.
Okay, sorry if I am being repetitive. I don't know what was heard and what wasn't recorded. But I was saying that just as we are taught in the Torah that first there was emptiness and there was darkness in the emptiness, it makes me think that perhaps when there is emptiness, it leaves room for darkness to come in. And it's a lesson on being preemptive and making sure there isn't that emptiness in the first place. So, if anyone has been around teenagers, you can see how boredom is so toxic. Having nothing to do leads people into just making trouble, and not because they're troublesome in the first place, but just because that emptiness leads to darkness coming in and doing things that they don't necessarily even want to be doing, but it's the emptiness that leads to darkness. We'll just leave it at that and we'll move on. So what happens in the face of darkness? What happens if the darkness did come in and it is dark? What do we do now? Let's say you try to be preemptive. You're preemptive a lot of the time, and sometimes you just don't get ahead of the issue. The issue arrives, and there's a darkness, there's a struggle, there's something you have to deal with. And so the first thing Hashem does, Hashem says, Yehi let there be light. And what's most interesting to me about this is that this is the first time we're told how Hashem created a creation. Because if we go back to when we say Bereshis bara Elokim es hashamayim es haaretz, in the beginning Hashem created heaven and earth, we aren't told how. We know how from Hasidic sources and from Kabbalah and from different midrashic explanations. So we know that Hashem created the entire world using the power of speech, well, allegorically speaking, utterances. Hashem created the world through speech, but we aren't told that in the Torah. Hashem could have said, the first pasuk could have been, Hashem created a world by saying, let there be Shemayim and Aretz. But we aren't told, and I think there's a lesson in that. And the lesson in that to me is that it doesn't matter how your circumstance came about. We don't have to know how we got in this situation, whether your spouse was late doing X, Y, and Z, or that person, your coworker didn't deliver on what they were supposed to deliver on, or a person cut you off in traffic, or there was a hurricane. How your circumstance came about, how the Shemayim and the Eretz, how your highs, how your lows, how your struggle happened is not important. It's not what we should be focusing on. So that's what we weren't told. Again, these are lessons that I learned. So I'm not quoting sources on this. So don't give it more weight than that. So in the beginning, we weren't told that, but now when Hashem created light, we're told Hashem said, let there be light. And I thought about that and I was like, speech is not very hard to do. To tell someone you look pretty today is not a hard thing to do. It's not physically hard. It's not taxing. To add a little light, it's just about saying something nice, saying a bracha before you eat something, giving a compliment, telling a loved one, saying the words, I love you, saying it to them so they hear it. It's not the action part of speech, it's not hard. It's the deciding to want to do it. Once you decide, I want to spread light, I want to be that joy in someone else's life, it could be as simple as just saying a few words, and you can bring so much light into your own life and into other people's lives and into the world at large just by saying nice things, being positive in your speech. And I think that's a really enormous lesson that we learned straight up from day one. So that's how Hashem created the light. Now what happens? There's light and there's still dark. And this is confusing. If the room is dark, if the world is dark and you add light, the darkness shouldn't be there anymore. You lit up the room, you turned on the light, the darkness should go away. But it says right there in the beginning, there was light and there was dark. And so there's a reason for the dark. Why is the dark there? There's a reason for the dark. And the reason for that dark is to provide that friction, to provide that resistance, so that the work that we do in spreading light has a force fighting us, and therefore it makes us more worthy and it makes us earn the things that we earn in life. Our Chacham say that a gift that's undeserved, when someone receives something that's really undeserved and not worked for and unearned, it makes them feel a little bit of shame. It makes them feel unworthy. People don't just want to be given things. They want to work for them. They want to feel that they deserved it. And that's what the job of the darkness in the world is. The job of the darkness in the world, it's there for a reason. When there's something pushing back, it's pushback, so that we have something to work toward, to work for, and to overcome. And that overcome it's for us. It makes us feel worthy. And it gives us that sense that we deserve this and we're doing something good. But Hashem did something very interesting with the light and the dark. From the beginning, he looked at them and he said, he put the dark, he separated between them, and he put the dark for the night and the light for the day. And this too is a lesson for us. Clarity, knowing what is light and what is dark, defining it. It's like such an important lesson, not only for ourselves when we're educating others. You need to know right from wrong, justice from injustice, lawfulness from something that's illegal. You have to be able to be very clear on what's right, what's wrong. What does Torah say on this issue? What does Hashem want from me in this situation? Having clarity, having the dark and light separated so that we're very clear on what is good and what isn't good. And then when you have that clarity, you need to act appropriately. For example, a person could be exceedingly kind and gracious and hospitable, and these are really good qualities. But to take it to act toward another human being in a way that it gives them so much space and opportunity and means to hurt themselves is enabling. That's not kindness. That's not generosity. So having clarity on things, but also in the appropriate measure. The darkness belongs in the night. The light belongs in the day. Being very clear on what's right, what's wrong, and taking the appropriate measure at the appropriate time. Not everything. A good characteristic can be used in the wrong way. So those are our lessons from day one. And day one is done. Hashem looks at it and he says, it is good. And to me, that is like such a comforting statement. Hashem sees the dark. Hashem sees the light. Hashem sees the night. Hashem sees the day. And he puts his stamp on it and says, it is good. The struggle that you're having, this battle that you're dealing with, this challenge that you're trying to overcome, it is good. It is good for you. It is good not because I'm looking at a struggle and saying it's good, but because Hashem decided that this is good. This is what is going to bring about the best version of myself. That's the end of day one. Now we move on to day two. And on day two, Hashem separates the waters. He puts half the water in the heavens, half the water in the earth, and this space in between, he calls the Rakia, let's say the sky. And that's the end. That's the whole day two. And I think the thing that stands out the most about day two is what doesn't happen. Day two is the only day out of the 6 days of creation where Hashem does not put a stamp of approval on it. He doesn't say, it doesn't say, Vayar Hashem ki tov, and Hashem saw that it was good. There's something about day two that's apparently not good. And what is it? So Rashi tells us on day two, Rashi is the commentary on the Psukim in the Torah, and Rashi says that the reason why it doesn't say ki tov and it was good is because Hashem wasn't finished. He separated the waters, but that wasn't the whole goal. The goal of separating the waters was to clear dry land. And on day three, Hashem came and he gathered the waters into specific bodies. He put them in the oceans and the rivers and the streams and the brooks and the creeks, not crooks. And he gathered in the waters into specific areas so that now there was clear land that can sprout vegetation and plant life. So he didn't finish his job on day two. And because it wasn't finished, he didn't assess it. He didn't look at it and give it a grade. Is it good? Is it not good? Because he wasn't done. And therefore he did that on day three and instead of day two. So my question about that is, why didn't he finish the job on day two? I mean, Hashem could have done anything. He could have finished it on day two, and then he could have put a stamp on it that it is good. And so obviously he did it on purpose, and he did it to teach us a very important lesson. And it's a foundational lesson. And it happened right away on day two. And what's that lesson? That separation, division is not good. It is not good for there to be division among people, to be division and separation. It's not good. However, it is necessary. It is so necessary that it took an entire day out of 6 days of creation to do this one thing. This one thing is a separation, a division. And it makes us think about where we see separation in Jewish life, where we see division in Jewish life. And we see it mostly in the way we have the separation of genders in social settings, in schools, in shuls. You have a mechitza. This is division. This is separation. And Hashem is telling us the division, the separation itself, this is not the goal. This is not what's beautiful and good about. But this is absolutely necessary to bring about the highest form of goodness and the highest form of divinity, and to protect the most sacred parts of Jewish life, which is a Jewish home, which is Jewish marriage. These things are so precious that it's worthwhile to take these precautionary measures of bringing in something that Hashem couldn't even stamp it with his approval as it is good. He couldn't bring that in, but it was so necessary. You can take an example, let's say, from a child playing in the playground and it's a freezing winter day and the parent bundles the child up in a coat and a scarf and a hat and the kid just wants to have fun and he wants to let loose and he wants to be free and he's crying to his mother, his caregiver, whomever, and he's like, I don't want to wear my coat. I want to run around. I want to have a good time. Don't you love me? Don't you want me to enjoy myself? And the parents, of course, I want you to enjoy yourself, but I want you to be healthy. I don't want you to get sick. You can't run around in the playground without a coat. That coat, there is no value in the coat aside for the protection that it offers the child. The coat is just there so the child should be healthy. And that's what I think of it, and I think in terms of separation and division in Yiddishkeit, it's not about the division. There's no beauty in the actual wall that's separating the women and the men, but the protection that it provides is so valuable and it is so necessary. And when you look around society, unfortunately, in today's day and age, you could see the result of the intermingling and there having being no separation and no respect and a real lack of creating this distance when necessary for the sake of unity, but real unity. And in a Jewish marriage, you have that within the marriage itself, where you have days of separation and you have days of unity. And the days of separation are never the goal. It's never, oh, let's add one more day of separation. God forbid. The goal is always to bring about the unity and the connection between husband and wife. And the separation is only there to protect the sanctity of the marriage and the spirituality that's there. That's day two. We move on from day two and we get to day three. Now we're going to go a little bit more quickly because I think day one and day two were really the foundational ideas. You know, the Eina and Milvada, having clarity, taking things back to its source, adding light, the simple, how easy it is to add light to infuse goodness into our daily lives. And knowing that sometimes also the one more thing about day two is that sometimes we don't finish what we set out to do. We don't finish. And we look at it and it's unfinished. And we can't look at our work and say, oh, this is great, because it's just not. It's just unfinished. And I think it's like those times where I would say, maybe it's not over. That's why it doesn't look good to you, because it's not the end. This is not how your story ends. So it doesn't feel good. Maybe it doesn't feel good because it's not finished. And keep going, keep working at it, and you'll get to a place where it feels better. Let's move on to, okay, so that's day one and two. Then we got to day three. Now, day three, we start being introduced to more complex levels of creation. We'll go through them a little bit more quickly. We have the daimim, tzemeach, chai, and medaber. Daimim are the lowest level, the inanimate objects, and we've met a bunch of them already. Water, light, energy, rock, like the bedrock of the earth. These are all inanimate objects. They don't grow. They don't develop in a way that you could like track. Then we have the second level, which is the tzemeach, that's plant life, vegetation, plants and trees. And these things are a level above the daimim, the inanimate objects, in that they grow, they develop. You plant a seed, it grows roots and a stem and branches and fruit. They develop, they grow. They're things that grow. The third level is chai, which is the animal kingdoms. They have a benefit above the tzemeach, the plant life, in that the animals, they also act. They don't only grow and develop, but they hunt and they build habitats and they're living creatures and they create environments and they group together and they have all these behaviors. And the highest level we get to finally after we went through day three, where we met the vegetation and the plant life, and day four, where we have all the constellations, the stars and the moon and the planets, and day five, where we have the birds and the fish. Day six, we have the animals, the land animals. And at the end of day six, the second half of day six, we meet the people who are the medaber. And medaber means the speaker. And it's very interesting that we finally get to the people who are going to create this home for Hashem in this world, which is the purpose. Going back to the beginning, what is the purpose of the whole world? To create a home for Hashem in this world. Who's going to bring that about? The people. Everything else is put there just for the sake that the people have what they need in order to bring about this home for Hashem. And they're not named the philosopher, the developer, the I don't know, whatever other based on maybe their computing power or their feeling or their intelligence. They're not named after any of that. They're called the speaker. And this is an enormous lesson about what is the superpower of a human being over an animal. What sets them apart from an animal? The fact that they can speak. What is speech? What is this power of speech? And let's remember, that's how Hashem created the entire world. He used speech in particular. Hashem could have thought the world into being. Hashem could have made some sort of motion, allegorically speaking, to bring the world into being. He could have just willed it into being, but he used speech. He used words. And that's an incredible lesson for us on what speech is and what its power is. So let's talk about it a bit. So we have thoughts, and thoughts is a form of communication, but only with ourselves. You think things, you're really having a conversation with yourself. It's a private type of communication. And thoughts don't really have real boundaries. They could go anywhere. They could do anything, and it doesn't even have to make sense, and doesn't even have to actually work in today's in a real way, in a reality. It could just be anywhere. They could be all over the place. And action is a manipulation of whatever is there already, taking things in the world, bringing them together, taking them apart. It's a further development of whatever is already there. Speech, on the other hand, it has the power to create. What does that mean? How does speech create? Let's take for an example. Let's take all the way back to our first example we had of the doctor, of the surgeon, that to one person looked like a murderer and to the other person looked like a doctor. Maybe that's not the best example. Let's use a different example. For example, you can have a parent and a child or two friends, and they can live, one can take care of the other and one can do everything for the other. But when the one expresses with words something to the other, for example, the power of saying, I love you. The reality didn't change, meaning the care is the same, the things they do together are the same. But saying these words out loud to another human, it changes the reality that the other person lives in when they're with you. Suddenly they feel loved. It creates this feeling in another human being that changes, it shifts their reality, it creates a different experience for them. The way you speak creates a reality. I'll bring you an example from last week's parsha. We had the story about Eliezer Eliezer was the servant of Abram, and he went to look for a wife for Yitzchak, who's Abram's son, Yitzchak, and he goes to Padan Aram, and he gets to the well, and he has a conversation with Hashem. He says, please God, give me a sign that I'll find the right girl, and he davens, and Hashem fulfills his wish, and he finds the right girl, and she gives him water, and she gives water to his camels, and she says, wow, she's so hospitable, she's so kind, she's going to fit right into Avram's family, who was like the picture of hospitality, and she's going to fit right in. And they go back to her father's house, and it says that she went to her mother and told her mother everything that happened. That's all we're told. She told her mother everything that happened. That's it. But then when Eliezer comes in, he repeats the entire story with all its details, that he came and he davened to Hashem, and Hashem answered his tefillas and his prayers, and the right girl came along, and all these miracles happened for her. The water rose for her, and she brought water for him, and she brought water for the camels. And the Torah is very careful about every single word it uses. Like we said in the beginning of the class, the Torah is a book of instructions. It's lessons. It's not stories. So why would the Torah repeat this entire story? It's many psukim long, and we repeat this entire story twice. What is the goal of that? We already heard it once from the pasuk, and now we're hearing it again from Eliezer's repetition of it. And the answer is because when you looked at the events and what happened, they could seem coincidental. They could seem random. Just it happened to be he came to the well at the exact time as Rivka was there. And it happened to be that she's super sweet and was in a good mood and decided she was going to go out of her way and also give water to her camels. It can look like a really random sequence of events. But when Eliezer retells the story, he puts Hashem into every single thing that happened. I davened to Hashem, and Hashem answered my tefillas, and Hashem sent Rivka, and Hashem did miracles for Rivka, and Baruch Hashem, I'm here now. And he finishes the story asking Besuel, who is Rivka's father, and Lavan, who's Besuel's brother, to allow him to take her back as a wife. And these are not good people. Besul was a real Russia. He even tried to poison Eliezer and kill him, and Amalek switched the plates, and he actually died that day. And Lavan, who is Rivka's brother, was a really tricky, dishonest con man. And he tricks Yaakov. Later on, we're going to learn in the Parsha how he tricks him, and he really misleads him and deceives him. These are not tzaddikim. They're far from it. They're not good people. And yet, when Eliezer tells this story to them, infusing the entire incident with revealing the God's hand in the whole thing, their response to him is one line. They say, Hashem ordained it to be so. These are Risham who don't speak with Hashem's name on their lips. But Eliezer, by speaking the story through the lens of divine providence, through the lens of Hashem led me here, and this happened because Hashem wanted this to come about. His retelling of that story created this reality where even the lowest people, these big Risham, were able to say, Hashem ordained it to be so. This was God's will. Of course, you could have her because that's what Hashem wants. He created a godly reality. He revealed godliness in this lowest of places, in the home of the biggest of people who were really rebelling against Hashem, who were not on Hashem's side. And it was through his retelling of the story that he reshaped the reality. He revealed God's light in it, and it brought out that in them. And this is a lesson to all of us. And, sometimes we go through, it's hard for us to look at what's happening and be positive and feel good about it. And sometimes it just takes using your words and saying, it's God's will. It's Hashgacha Pratis. It's for the best. Saying these words out loud creates that reality. And it helps to really get the rest of you behind that and to feel it. I'll end off with just something that I found really inspiring. It's about making brachas. Simple thing. You take a drink of water, you say the bracha, Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam shehakal b'dvar. You drink a cup of water. It's a simple thing. It's a bracha. And you think about it, so much of Jewish life has brachas in it. We wake up in the morning, we say, thank you, Hashem. There's a set of blessings that are called blessings of the morning, and you go through them. And it's the first one is, thank you, Hashem, for giving the rooster the ability to crow. So the brains to the know-how to crow so that it wakes me up. Thank you, Hashem, for giving me the strength to sit up in bed. Thank you, Hashem, for giving me the strength to stand up. Thank you, Hashem, for giving me the strength to clothe myself. Every single step of the day, there's a bracha for it. And then we get down to, we ask Hashem for her needs. There's a bracha for almost every single one of our needs. Then there's a bracha for every mitzvah, so many mitzvahs that we do. There's a bracha on the Lulav and Esrog. There's a bracha on the menorah that we're going to light soon this coming month of Kislev. There's a bracha on the Shabbat candles that we light. Everything there's this bracha, 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 bracha. What are these brachas that we're saying over and over and over? What do they mean? What is the point of the bracha? Can't we do the mitzvah without the bracha? What is the bracha and why is it so tied to so many details of religious life? And the answer is this. A bracha is speech. What are we saying when we say a bracha? Let's look at the words. Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam. That's the beginning of almost every single bracha. The word baruch comes from the same root as the word, maybe lahavrich. I have to look it up, but it means to graft. What is to graft? If you have a tree and you want to take a piece of this tree and transport it somewhere else and grow that tree in another environment, you would take off a branch or a piece of the tree and you would graft it somewhere else and it would take root there and you would grow a whole new tree from that piece. It's the actual tree in a new environment. To Baruch Atah Hashem, when we say Baruch Atah Hashem, the first word Hashem it's spelled Yud Kei Vav Kei. It's the level of Hashem that is like beyond any of the worlds. It's a very, very high level. The next word is Elokim. Well, if we remember how we started this whole class, Bereshis bara Elokim es hashamayim es haaretz. Elokim is the level of Hashem that created this world. It's a much lower level. It's a level more connected with this world. We say Baruch Atah Hashem. We make a bracha. We are going to graft. We are taking this level of Hashem that is way beyond creation, that is way beyond anything we could comprehend. We're going to bring it down into Elokeinu. The suffix of the word new means our God, a God in this world. We're going to take the highest levels. We're going to bring it down into our lives to reveal him as our Hashem, our God, the force and the life and the reason for our life here in this world. And through doing that, through revealing that level of Hashem in the world, in a personal way, we make him Melech HaElam. We make him king over the entire world. And that's the job of a person, of a Yid in this world, of a Jew in this world, to create this home for Hashem. How do we do that? Through every single time we reveal God's hand in our life, in our personal, mundane, daily existence, in the small things we do, in the little things that happen to us, in going through waking up in the morning, drinking, eating, going to work, going shopping, meeting a friend, revealing Hashem in our daily lives, in these little details over and over and over again. A person can make 100 blessings in a single day, over and over and over again. We're doing this simple thing of we're making Hashem a home in this world. We're making him king over this world through us revealing Hashem in our lives, in our day. And it's sometimes really hard to do. It's really hard to keep that front and center. And I think that's why we have to make 100 brachas a day, because they're constant reminders. They're constant reminders in our life. It's built into this tapestry, into the structure of our life and into our day, is that we are here for a reason. We're here to make God a home. And we have to keep telling it to ourselves because we don't see it. You can look at the world and you could really miss it. And it has to be upfront in our consciousness that there's a reason, there's a goal. The struggle is not for the struggle. The struggle is there for the light. The struggle is there for creating this beautiful palace for Hashem, for creating this home for Hashem, for bringing this light into the world. And it doesn't have to be difficult. It doesn't have to be daunting. It's about a little bit of light at a time. It's one Baruch Hashem, thank God. There's one thank you Hashem, one little piece of gratitude, one kind thing you say to another, one little mitzvah. It's one little light at a time that will overwhelm and help us get through everything that's difficult for us and to reveal Hashem in this world ultimately and to bring Mashiach.
Wow, Connie, that was over the top. We may have to do another birthday present for this coming year. Now that you did this one, I was really blown away. I never looked at the 6 days of creation in such a deep way. It was more like on a preschool style level. On day one, it was this, on day two, it was that. But everything is created really for a purpose and for us. And I love what you said. It's a navigation for our life to make our lives better. It's like when we go on a trip and we put in the GPS, our destination. Now, if we take the wrong turn and decide on our own to turn off the GPS, we won't get to our destination as fast as we would if we followed the GPS. So Torah is our GPS to life. And if we follow it, it'll be a much smoother ride to get through life. And if we don't, we're just going to have a lot more challenges and bumps in the road because you're going to have to take the side streets or the streets that you don't recognize that's not meant for you, for your voyage. So really, thank you so much, Hani, for this beautiful birthday present that you gifted me. You went out of your comfort zone again. I can't even imagine that you never did this before because you're such a natural. And Hashem gave you so many gifts, and I hope you continue to write not just children's books but also adult books because you have so much wisdom to share with the world. And they say that family you don't get to choose, but friends you get to choose. And I definitely chose you as a friend when I was younger. And I saw your light and you saw mine. And we bonded and we spent so much time together in such a beautiful way, our childhood. And we always had each other's backs and it was just so beautiful. And like in life, it's just so much nicer to get through it with a friend. So I bless everyone that they should have such beautiful friends like I do. I am so blessed. And thank you, Hani. Wait, you're muted.
I just said you're
You're
welcome. All
welcome.
the feelings are mutual. I love you, Chaya. You should have a light-filled day and a light-filled year and a light-filled life. And Hashem should bench you, oddly die, just completely overflowing, overflowing with blessings. And I'm happy to have you in my life. You are a major source of light to a lot of people. And Hashem should bench you with all the light that you want in your life.
Right back at you. And I just want to say that we should continue to be the light. All of us has your own shining light. We all have our own mission. Not everyone has a different fingerprint. No one has the same. So we all have a different mission to, and we are all such a world. And I just want to end off with saying thank you to Hashem and the Rebbe for this opportunity that I get to bring light into the world, and sending me such wonderful speakers. I just want to say that this week I almost gave up on doing a class and putting out an old recording, and I have many good recordings, but because all the speakers I asked to share weren't available this week, or the ones that we scheduled for this week had to cancel. So all of a sudden, out of the blue, I was thinking a thought that I should never think, and I said, okay, maybe I'm just going to start doing the classes like once a month. And all of a sudden, I got a phone call, and it was my friend Connie. And when she calls, I always pick up because it's such a treat to hear from her. She has a very busy life, and thank God she's a mom and a wife, and she has her hands full. And we were speaking. She goes, Chaya, I'm ready to deliver your birthday present. I prepared. And I was like, oh, so cool. I'm like, okay, can we connect it to this week? Um, for light, because 6 days of creation usually comes in the beginning, like the beginning parsha, Bereshis. And I feel like you could always connect any Torah, anytime, any minute of the day, because it's just connects to our soul. So thanks to Khani, she was Hashem's messenger to tell me that I should continue doing this weekly. So if you have a story, journey, reach out to me so we can put you on the calendar for future dates. And really thankful and grateful to all of our speakers and our past speakers and our future speakers of commitment. So thank you. I want to say thank you to all of our ambassadors of the class. An ambassador is someone that takes on to share this class, the flyers and the recordings on their chats, on their statuses, and on wherever they have a platform. And in 1 minute, they share, and poof, light goes out into the world. So thank you for being an ambassador. I share my merits with you, and I believe I have many merits. So consider being an ambassador today. Sharing is caring. I want to say thank you to everyone that tunes into the classes weekly. I want to say thank you to my mashpia, my mentor of this class, Shane D. Jacobson. Thank you for always being there behind the scenes. I always know that I can count on you if something comes up or I need help with anything about the class. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Honored and humbled. You are part of this incredible class. And lastly, I want to say thank you to my dear husband who really helps with the tech. Hashem didn't gift me with tech or um, not so techy, and he puts it on our YouTube channel. So I'm honored and humbled that he partners with me, and I believe he will get a lot of merits. Well, because he is me and I am him. Well, half. But basically, thank you so much. And we have a podcast. Thank you to my nephew Donnie for uploading the classes. So our podcast is the Soulful Spot. That's SOULFUL spot, the Soulful Spot, and my YouTube channel is under my name, Chaya Mink, CHAYAMINK. Short, my maiden name, because it's just much easier to spell that out than Ben Shimon. But Chaya Mink Ben Shimon, check it out. We have over 260 classes recorded, and we have many more amazing classes in store for you. And thank you, and God bless. And don't forget to be the reason someone smiles every day, and share a light with everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you.